Okay, so every year about this time, those of us that are Floridians start paying attention to the weather.
Well, this hurricane season could be dominated by the presence of El Nino.
We have had Category 5s make landfall in the past during below average seasons.
And after living through multiple hurricanes here in Central Florida, well, we've learned something, and that is losing power really isn't a question of if anymore, it's more of a question of when. And we've done the whole thing before, standing in line for gas before the hurricane hits, hoping that the generator starts after staying in the shed.
We've got success. I was able to jerry rig one together, and in theory it should start up now.
Oh yeah. Okay, so it's really starting to rain out there now. Getting wet.
And then trying to decide, okay, what absolutely has to stay plugged in and what not. So today we're gonna show you a backup system that we've actually been testing out, and we know it will work great for our home. We're gonna quickly walk through exactly how we would use it if a hurricane hit our house here in Florida tomorrow.
It's almost like scary.
That's crazy,
Here,
man. Look at that.
listen,
wow.
listen to
Oh
this.
my gosh. Look at it. Oh.
Hold on. No, literally these trees are literally gonna bend.
Yeah.
Just here in a few minutes.
Those are pine
was out.
trees.
Now, in full disclosure, this video is sponsored by Jackery, but as always, we are giving our honest thoughts and opinions, and we only partner with companies whose products that we actually use ourselves. So let's get going. This is kind of like our hurricane game plan, and we have some priorities. So priority one is we need to keep the refrigerator running. Food, you guys, is expensive, and with teenagers in the house and everything like that, we can't afford to lose all of the food that is in our fridge. So fridge is always priority one.
Now we should have power and success.
Priority two is being able to stay connected and have connectivity. So that is our internet. We need to make sure that we have got power to our internet, our router, so that we can stay connected. Priority three, of course, is going to be able to see in the dark. Nobody wants to have an accident in the bathroom by missing the toilet because it's blacked out. So obviously we've got to keep the lights on after dark. The next priority, number four, is being able to charge our phones. We need to be able to keep those charged and keep those powered up so that we have use of those. Priority number five is fans. Now, here is the thing. In Florida, it's a little bit humid, more so in some times of year than the others. The one thing that we have learned living here now for the last 6 years is if you can just keep some air flow and some air moving, you can keep things fairly comfortable, even if it is a little bit on the warm side. So having fans that we can run, even in a power outage, can help keep things super comfortable while that power is out. If this was the morning right after a hurricane, and for whatever reason, guys, like we've been through several hurricanes, they always seem to hit at night. It is the strangest phenomenon. Usually that is where we wake up and then we don't have power. If this were the morning after the hurricane, this is what we'd actually be running. We would obviously be prioritizing our coffee station. We would have this plugged in to our Jackery. We'd have the fridge plugged into the Jackery. We could have our phones running and charging from the Jackery, and then of course our internet router. That's what we would then be using for our morning routine. Maybe even getting out the electric griddle. I don't know. We would just have to see what sort of morning it is. So after we've had our morning coffee and we've all figured out the day, figured out closures, all of that, then we would want to still be able to get some work done, because just because maybe Florida's without power doesn't mean that the rest of the world is stopping. That's where we could power up our laptops, we could keep our phones charging, have a fan going, still have the fridge plugged in, have everything running, and have the Jackery powering us up. The next thing is, let's say we're in a hurricane and it's now evening. What our evening might look like is actually probably watching some TV, because we're not gonna be going anywhere. And we can do all of that. We have the fridge plugged in with the extension cord, charging a phone. We've got a lamp because it's dark outside. And we've got all of that running on the Jackery. One thing that I really like is that you can see on the display or in the app exactly where you're at on the battery percentage, but then also what your power usage is, and then how much time that you have left on the Jackery based on everything that's consuming power at that moment. So it gives you a really good idea, especially if you know, okay, we could be without power for several more days, where you're at, what needs to be conserved or what not. And then something next that I'm gonna show you that we wanted to make sure that we had in our backup plan. Because if we are without power for more than just say a day or so, this is where things get really important. Part of the reason that we picked this system and we really like this system is the Jackery itself weighs about 77 pounds. And so there's a telescoping handle, there's wheels, it makes it really easy to move around. And then the other thing is you can add several of the expansion batteries. We started with 2, and then that way if for some reason the power outage just lasts longer than what we expect, it could literally be all over the board just depending upon the size of the storm. We've been without power anywhere from 5 hours to multiple days. But with those expansion batteries, we're prepared. And if we want to later in the future, we can add on with more expansion batteries without having to worry about, okay, well, we just need a whole different system. One thing that we wanted as part of just our overall home backup plan wasn't just battery storage and power storage, but we wanted a way to be able to actually generate power. So the wonderful thing is right now behind me, we've got 2 of the Jackery 500-watt solar panels. So those are going, those are charging up the Jackery and the expansion batteries. Here's how it typically works in Florida with the hurricane. If the hurricane moves through, it's the aftermath, right? And so usually at that point, the sun is out, but maybe the power's not back on yet. So that's where we're able to use solar to be able to charge everything back up before we need to rely on it for power again. Here's the other thing. We don't have hurricanes every week, thank God, and we have just hurricane season. So in our whole backup plan, we did want something that wasn't just sitting in the garage, and we only use during hurricane season. We wanted something that was versatile that we could use all year round. And so the nice thing about this is that we're actually using this to charge up things like our batteries for our power tools. It could be used at a job site, working outside. And the nice thing about this is this can actually be used as a power backup for the RV. We tested it and we can even run an AC off of this thing for the RV. So we hope we don't need this whole setup very often, but every hurricane season, just having it charged and ready to go definitely gives us one less thing to have to worry about. And honestly, that is what emergency preparedness is really all about. So if you would like to learn more about the Jackery Home Pro Power 3600 Plus, check out any current promotions. We'll have everything linked below for you.